afternoon. Are we on 4 o'clock straight up on a Monday edition of On Q, powered by our wonderful friends over at SR 1029 FM The Game, and of course online, SR 1029 FM The Game, Coastal Sports Digital Network. As always, I'm your host, Rich Quinones. 2 hours to play with. We will take up to 6 o'clock straight up on another Monday in late December 2025. Hope everyone had a wonderful sports weekend. And as I mentioned, you're joining your 29th of December 2025, a couple days away before we say goodbye to 2025 and we welcome in 2026. I have no idea where the time goes, but hey, that's what happens as you get a little older. Or if you're a fan of some bad football teams, time does not stop for you. As always, get social with me at Rich Q on Q on IG, X, and of course TikTok, Rich Q on a mic. Like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're also on Rumble and Kicks, as I mentioned before, powered by our good friends over at Three Brooks Bourbon. Get ready with tea and play it again sports. So here we go on a Monday, as you and I, or the first time listeners, viewers of the show, understand it is a Man Up Monday. We take it into another direction as we've added on the caveat of a Lunes Manolo Mentiroso Man Up Monday. We're calling out the BS takes, picks, opinions that you guys shoveled out and tried to cram down my throat last Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And here we are, 17 weeks of the NFL season is in the books as we get set for a monumental Week 18. And just again, the NFL has proven it's the best theater. It's the best theater, period. And when you get this late into the season with so many different storylines and unbelievable games over the weekend, just heart pounding, heart racing, thrillers come from behind, upset wins, teams getting bailed out, teams needing help, teams getting help, teams being eliminated from postseason contention, teams clinching. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, last night, that was a wonderful game to watch, an entertaining game. Sure. Did I get 2-3 hours sleep again because of the overseas duties? Absolutely. Was it worth it to watch the 49ers and the Bears go back and forth, up and down like a track meet? 42-38? Absolutely. You know, the Eagles winning ugly. Again, Buffalo in trouble. The Steelers in trouble. I mean, think about this, right? The Ravens, here's a caveat, here's a thought, run the friggin' football. And then you got the Texans that are showing right now, they might be the scariest team in the NFL. New England taking care of the Jets. Absolutely, I'm basting them. And then, of course, my Giants and the Giant fan on this Monday, half of the fan base that is still crying, whining, bitching, and complaining. Tank this. The Giants got to win. You know, we talked about this on Friday in the NFL. We talked about this at length. There is no tanking in football, period. There is no tanking in the NFL. Yes, you make business decisions. You watch that game yesterday. The Giants have a bad run defense. What does Pete Carroll wants to do? He wants to throw the football early on. They're subtle little things, absolutely. But to suggest for these teams and players to go out and basically not tackle, not hit, run poor routes, drop footballs, not pass protect, not pass block, not run block, miss tackles, giving up on plays is absurd. And it's funny too, because I knew if there was going to be a weekend where the Giants were going to play a complete game in all facets, of course you get it yesterday and the Raiders are horrible. The Raiders are horrible. Giants get a couple turnovers, a bunch of sacks. They're running the football, Dart slinging it, RPOs. Defense is playing good. The offense is showing signs of life. Dart with a couple more touchdowns. And then all of a sudden, when the Raiders respond, and you think, okay, Giants are going to lose this game. They're going to cement the number one top overall pick. Here we go. Come back, Raiders. Throw. What does Banks do? A bust with the Giants decides he's going to take the ensuing kickoff 95 yards. So in every facet yesterday, which we haven't seen in 10, 15 years with the Giants, special teams, defense, offense, everything clicked. And they win it 34-10, and everyone's talking about tank. Now, there's still an opportunity for them to get the top overall draft pick. Obviously, the Raiders are in the driver's seat. They've got a lot of questions that are going to have to be answered in the offseason. I'll get to my Giants thoughts later on in the show because, again, I just feel like I need to just shut up some fans who are just absolutely friggin' clueless when it comes to the national media and the narrative of tanking. Go tell that. Go tell that to some of these other teams yesterday. Seriously, go tell that to the Saints. Go tell that to the Browns. Go tell that to Cincinnati. Now, the Raiders, they decide we're going to shut down Crosby, and then Crosby's on IG shooting hoops in his garage or his gym, whatever the hell it was. I mean, it was a gorgeous facility. I should say his home gym with his kid there. Going on IG is a bad look for the NFL and the Raiders. But now, he's going to have surgery on that knee. So we'll get into that whole narrative. I have to get into what transpired between the Patriots and the Jets because I believe right now there's no way the Jets can retain Aaron Glenn. But a couple of highlights from the weekend. The Baltimore Ravens, who started the season 1-5, and Lamar on the hot seat, banged up, Harbaugh on the hot seat, Derrick Henry, why are you not running the football? Well, they turned back the clock against the Packers, and they gave a Hall of Fame running back 36 carries for 216 yards. Oh, by the way, 4 touchdowns later, the Ravens win at 41-24. I told you, they're winning the North. The Steelers yesterday, it was right there for Pittsburgh. And Cleveland decides we're going to show up. Sanders, a little spotty, a little hit or miss, but the defense played well. Garrett didn't get the sack of Rodgers. Rodgers looked shot. He missed a lot of throws. Yes, he made a couple in that last drive, but he also missed a couple big-time opportunities late. And I don't know if anyone else noticed this during the telecast or the broadcast, but Nance and Romo, they didn't bring up DK Metcalf until the last series. Obviously, Metcalf getting suspended for the final 2 games of the season because of his altercation or exchange with that Lions fan, it's going to cost the Pittsburgh Steelers the division because I don't think they're winning against Baltimore. Then you get a winning in the NFC South because nobody wants to win that division between Carolina and Tampa Bay. Jacksonville just going about their business. New England winning the AFC East, absolutely clocking the New York Jets. Seattle taking care of Carolina. Seattle is going to be a very tough out come playoff time. I mentioned the 49ers last night. I think the Bills are in trouble. That was an ugly game by Buffalo. That was an ugly game by the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll get into those particulars. But as I mentioned, you couldn't have written, the script for Week 18. You just couldn't. You couldn't have written the script right now for Week 18. I mean, the 49ers have a path now to home field advantage. Beat Seattle, and you get home field advantage. Who would have thought that in August? Who would have thought that in September, October? It's a great job by Kyle Shanahan. I told you I'll man up. I said he was on the hot seat in August. You might make the case right now for Shanahan as coach of the year with the 49ers. You get the winning in between Tampa Bay and Carolina. I mean, you got good games on Saturday. Then we get the slate of games on Sunday. And then we knew they were going to flex the AFC North game for it all on NBC. Ravens and the Steelers, winner gets in. Winner wins the AFC South. My biggest takeaway, several takeaways from yesterday. The New England Patriots, they don't even, like, they're at the point right now where they're railroading teams. They are railroading teams. And for the New England Patriots to go on the road, and I'm not going to sit there and say in a hostile environment because it was overrun by Patriots fans. I told you on Friday, I mentioned it on Saturday, and then I said it again during Backyard Play. I thought the Patriots were absolutely going to woodshed the New York Jets. I thought they were absolutely going to embarrass them. Did I see the Patriots jumping on top of the Jets like they did? I mean, that game started at 105. That game was friggin' over at 125. That was an embarrassment if you are a Jet fan to put that type of product out on the field. You blinked, this was a 35-3 game. I mean, Mike Vrabel, he decided, I'm going to call off the dogs late. And the funny thing is, after Aaron Glenn calls a timeout, Mike Vrabel turns it around and calls a timeout, so the Jets have to call another play to end the half. I mean, you have a situation yesterday. Everyone talks about tanking and rolling over and making business decisions and not showing up. The Jets yesterday, it wasn't even a tank. They should refund all the fans that decided to sit in that cold, in that slop on a Sunday afternoon in late December with a team that absolutely stinks and lost by 32 points and got woodshed again by Big Brother and the New England Patriots that could have put up 70 yesterday. And to hear the head coach again talk about effort or trying to rebuild and put things together, how in the world can you justify bringing back Aaron Glenn? So for all the clowns and just the goofiness out there, and just to be honest, the jackasses that just push this national media narrative of tanking. No, 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 no. There's a difference between not showing up, making business decisions, and flat out quitting. And the Jets did all three yesterday. They didn't show up. They made business decisions and they quit. And that's bad for the NFL. That's bad for their fan base. That's bad for the franchise. That's a horrible look. And that's an indictment on the head coach that you don't even put out a competitive product. I mean, the Cleveland Browns stink and they beat the Steelers yesterday. The Titans stink, but they played hard. The Saints stink and they won another game. Cincinnati can't stop anyone, and they beat Arizona. They stink too, but they at least play competitive football. And you're going to try to sell me on that crap that I saw yesterday? The Raiders stink. The Raiders are a horrible franchise. They're not good. They're not. So obviously, watching that game as a Giant fan, you just knew either the Giants were going to have to implode, be up 17 and blow it in the fourth, or they were probably going to beat up the Raiders. You kind of knew. You don't expect NFL players to go out there on a Sunday and just roll over. There's incentives, there's kickers and contracts, there are bonuses, and oh, by the way, it's on film. It's their livelihood. It's their livelihood. You want to talk about being conservative, playing it close to the vest? I can give you example after example, like case in point. Here's a situation in the Eagles and the Buffalo game where I believe right now the Buffalo Bills are in trouble. The Buffalo Bills are in trouble. And we talked about the AFC being open this year because the Ravens are not 100%. There's no Kansas City. Are you sold on Jacksonville? You should be sold on the Texans, New England and Denver, young teams. Here's a perfect example. The Eagles got bailed out yesterday. I mean, let's just call it for what it is. You can't, if you're an Eagles fan, the reality is this. You can't expect your defense to go out there and play like the 85 friggin' Bears every single solitary time. You can't. It's not sustainable. But their offense stinks. Their offense is so vanilla. Their offense is so predictable. Jalen Hurts did absolutely nothing in the second half. They did absolutely nothing in the second half. They didn't run the football again. And in a game that, if we're really being honest, the Buffalo Bills gave that game to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Buffalo Bills had no business losing that game yesterday. Josh Allen was making mistakes. Yes, he made the plays when he had to late, but there were some plays in that game like the fumble and giving up on the play and whining and crying to the official, and then it's recovered by the Eagles, heads-up play. That was an ugly game. That was an ugly game. I mean, you look at that first quarter, punt, fumble, touchdown, 7-0. Then the Eagles are up 13-0 going in the locker room. You're like, okay, Buffalo, wake up. It was mistake after mistake after mistake. The Eagles defense played lights out, no doubt. But the Bills had so many opportunities, even when they crept back in that game, to win it. You're talking about missed extra point. And let's not forget what I thought, again, and it's been very debatable now, late in the game. Late in the game, they score a touchdown. It's 13-12. They don't trust their kicker. So you're going for two. Now, I don't agree with that call. I don't. And listen, the execution was poor. Josh Allen had Shakir wide open. He had the wide receiver wide open. And you just saw that, pardon me, Josh Allen kind of, scrambling, if you will, rolling out to his left, and then he just kind of flung it, and he just led the wide receiver. Josh Allen, if you're a Pro Bowl, MVP caliber, perennial Hall of Famer, which he is, you got to make that throw. The play call was perfect. The execution was poor, but I still wouldn't have done that. I would have kicked the extra point and I would have went into overtime because I felt the Eagles were cooked. I felt the Eagles were spent. I felt the Eagles were cooked. They did absolutely nothing in the second half. They just did nothing. Every possession was a punt. Buffalo's defense, again, you want to talk about the play calling of Philadelphia, have at it. But Buffalo was shutting them down. I wholeheartedly disagree with that decision. I really do. And I think, again, it might come back. It might come back to bite them in the ass. It might come back to bite them in the ass because they don't look like a perennial playoff team, a team that's a juggernaut right there. And Josh Allen, as great as Josh Allen is, he also will have that head scratching play. And now you got to think about this. I get it. He had the x-rays on his foot, negative. If you're a Bills fan, that's great news. Josh Allen should not be throwing the football 35 times in those conditions. He just shouldn't. He shouldn't. He shouldn't. He had to be Superman when he had to be Superman, but he also missed the play that would have won them the game. But he should not be throwing the football 35 times in that game. Nope, not happening. You got James Cook. You keep feeding him the football, even though he was averaging about 3.6, 3.7. They ran for a $120. Now, Allen accounted for 27. And then conversely, with the Philadelphia Eagles, again, Jalen Hurts, 13 to 27. How many passing yards did Jalen Hurts have in the second half yesterday? He did absolutely nothing. Now, again, if you want to sit there and go by the play calling, that's fine. Whatever you guys feel comfortable with, whatever makes you sleep well at night, I'm all for it. I don't care at this point. Per ESPN research, 2025 Eagles are the first team since the 1987 Pats to win multiple games in a season in which they didn't complete a second half pass. Hurts is the first quarterback in the play-by-play era since 1978 to go 0-7 or worse in multiple games in a season. I don't know where the Eagles are at. I can't figure it out. I don't know where Buffalo's at. I know where the Steelers are at. But I can't figure out what the hell's going on in the NFL as we're approaching week 18. It's just maddening. It's absolutely maddening. Last night, Caleb Williams, that game was unbelievable. Purdy's playing on a ridiculous high level. CMC playing like an MVP. I mean, the kid just left his heart out on the field. He's just so productive, whether he's catching the ball, running out of the backfield. He's a phenomenal player. But the Bears have an opportunity to win that game late. And what happens? For as much as I wax poetic and applaud Caleb Williams, the last play of the game, he has DJ Moore right there. He doesn't get him the football. I mean, you're living and dying by every inch, by every play, by every series in the NFL. And now that we get to a week 18, there is zero margin of error. Right now, if you back me in a corner and say, give me the 2, 3, 4 best teams right now in the NFL, I would tell you the 49ers are playing at a ridiculously high level. And this isn't recency bias. I've been liking them since August. The Texans defense, I think now it's past New England and Denver as a whole. The Texans are scary. The Rams are scary. Seattle is scary. I'm not worried about the Philadelphia Eagles. Not like in years past. I'm not worried about the Buffalo Bills. Not like in years past. I'm not worried about the Steelers or the Ravens like I've been in the past. Because they really haven't done anything consistently this season where I would say, now I'm worried about you. Just when we think we figured out the Philadelphia Eagles and, man, they're getting their ground game going. Saquon gets 19 touches. I can't trust this coaching staff. Buffalo, I can't trust Brady. I can't trust McDermott. I can't. I really can't. Yeah, I get it. Winning ugly? Sure. You'll take the ugly win. But you're going to really try to tell me that a team like Buffalo or the Eagles, especially the Eagles with their offense, they're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to go anywhere with this offense. I hate to break it to you. Sirianni comes out afterwards and say you're not in a conservative mindset. Then are they that bad offensively? Looking around the NFL, bad teams are scoring 28 points. All right, 20 past 4 o'clock hour, cranking up on a Monday edition of On Q. See what you guys have to say out there. Getting some comments on Kicks and Rumble as well. We'll get to those. Giant fans, hang tight. 420. Let's read them off. Man chimes in first. That's what he does. Luca Brazzi, you were here before Q. Not necessarily. We fired off at 3:58. Good try, though. Just like the Eagles, you're one step behind me. CMC equals MVP. Yeah, but he's not going to get it. He's had a phenomenal season. He's had a phenomenal season. Did you see what Drake May did yesterday? I mean, can we talk Matthew Stafford? I think what CMC, I think what Purdy with the 49ers have done, we talk about all these head coaches and the job that they've done, whether it's Cohen, whether it's Johnson, whether it's Shanahan, McDonald. You've got a lot of viable options for coach of the year. And I think some of these guys are very worthy. I really do. I just, Seattle's played well. 49ers have played well. Jacksonville's been a great story. Carolina's been a good story. But there are teams that we thought in August, September were going to be perennial playoff teams, and now they're struggling mightily. I think the Steelers are done. Aaron Rodgers will make a throw here and there that makes you believe it's 7 years ago, Aaron Rodgers, but then he'll miss wide receivers, man, left and right. The loss of DK Metcalf is huge. It's huge. It's absolutely, I mean, you can't overstate what he means to that offense because now there's no threat of really beating you over the top. You look at Buffalo, you shut down Cook. You got to have Cooks bail you out on a ball that a smaller receiver's got to go up and get it. He made a great play on the ball, but offensively, they're predicated on running the football. The Philadelphia Eagles, their offense, they haven't gotten into any type of rhythm or rhyme. The Baltimore Ravens decide we're going to turn back the clock and give it to Henry, and Green Bay had no answers. Where was this the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season for Baltimore? Corporation on a collision course. Could be. It could be. It could be. Kevin chimes in, QQQ, relax, relax. I'm not going to say it, but let's just be honest. You mean to tell me that the Raiders weren't tanking yesterday, but now you're going to sit there and tell me that there's no tanking in the NFL? Get the hell out of here. It's not about tanking. That's not where I'm going with this. I had to hear it all friggin' day long and all day yesterday with Giant fans that just constantly want to give me that crap in the NFL. Seriously. Jim chimes in, Q, the so-called Giant fans screaming for tanking games are probably those same coworkers who get a poor job review, decide to slow their already snail-like production. No respect for work ethics and professionalism. Amanda chimes in, Q, you're talking out of your ass. This is the same thing that's been going on for year after year after year. It's insanity. We're expecting a different result. What are you talking about? It's not, again, it is a simple question for the clueless. What would you like an NFL team to do? That I feel as though this is such a contrived push by the media, like the rat ship, and these insiders, Rappaport and Schefter, rats that sit there and tweet, the Giants just lost number one. What do you want them to do? Do you think an NFL head coach is sitting in the locker room 20 minutes before kickoff and he turns around and says, guys, do me a favor today. We're 3-13. Obviously, if we lose another game or two, we'll get the top draft pick in April's draft. I'm sure there's going to be crickets in the locker room because a player doesn't give a shit about that because they're locked in thinking about their assignment. So now I'm a head coach. Hey, Tyron Tracy, do me a favor. Fumble a couple times. Hey, Robinson, I know you're near 1,000 yards and you might hit your incentives. Drop a couple passes. Oh, hey, do me a favor, Andrew Thomas. Let Jackson Dart get nailed. Let him get hurt. Oh, Jackson, here's another thing. Don't even worry about the RPOs, man. You see the Raiders coming, just softball. Toss it up to him. Get some picks in there. Oh, Banks, I know you're a bust. Continue to play. No coverage, blown coverage, missed tackling. Do you guys really think head coaches scheme that way? Absolutely not. You're talking about millions of dollars at stake. It's on film. It's on film. If I'm a young player, if I'm an undrafted free agent and I get reps at the end of the season and I'm on a bad football team, I'm on the Titans, I'm on the Saints, I'm on the Jets, but I'm playing in the NFL, you think I'm not going to try hard? You think I'm not going to tackle? Now, I watched the Cincinnati game, one of the worst tackling games I've ever seen in my life. Those are business decisions. Guys quit, and they just put that on film. So now, when you go and you watch the game with your teammates and you have film study or you're with your position coach, they're going to be like, "What the hell were you doing? What kind of angle did you take? That's embarrassment enough. That's embarrassment enough to sit there and say you didn't give 100% for your teammates. You quit. That's not tanking. That's a loser mentality. That is quitting. That is quitting, and it's on tape. It's on film. So you think the next head coach or your potential next team is not going to see that? Well, you know what? This kid Banks, he ran a kickoff 95 yards, but he basically makes Olay friggin' shit decisions when it comes to tackling because he's thinking about getting out of there early because he's already thinking about the offseason. He doesn't want to wrap a guy up. He's making a business decisions. Yeah, but let's go sign him for 3 years at 36 million. I mean, your heads up your asses today, some of you guys. I'm serious. I'm serious. It's absolutely this notion, this narrative, and I blame a lot of the national media for this. I blame some of these guys that are supposed to have credibility that cover the NFL. You want to win football games. Yes, if the Giants would have lost and they got the number 1 pick, I would have been happy. But I'm not happy today. They won a football game, and oh, by the way, their quarterback played well. Their quarterback played well. So just stop the crap with this tanking business. Just stop. Teams play hard, man. If you go into your job and decide to not do your job, to keep calling out sick, to not do your reports, to not show up, you're constantly late, you're getting in trouble, you're not paying attention, you're not producing, you're not delivering results. Do you expect to have that job? Do you expect to keep going back to that job and collecting a check? Oh my God, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just the arrogance of some people. These guys are making millions friggins of dollars. You know how long I've covered this league? You know how many players that I speak to and know? If you even brought up to them losing a game on purpose, they would look at you, they would probably want to crack you. Like, get the hell out of here. What are you talking about? Absolutely no. No, 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 no. Bills ranked 30th in run defense. Eagles give up on the run. Did they not watch the Ravens game? It makes no sense. It's play calling. It's play calling. It makes they're in trouble. The Eagles are in trouble. The Steelers are in trouble. Buffalo's in trouble. Sirianni's quote, the Eagles had 17 yards of offense, 1 first down in the second half. Okay. And the head coach thinks they're not being conservative. Now, this is his quote. This is Nick Sirianni. We were never in the mode of saying 13-0 is enough, not against this quarterback, not against this offense. So I don't think our mindset was ever to be conservative. But I got to do a better job in that scenario, and I'll put that on myself. Okay. So let's just go back for a moment, because I believe it was after they lost to Denver, or it might have even been the Rams game, which was week 3. I came on the air on a Monday and I said, this offense is in trouble. And then a couple weeks later, they beat Minnesota. And I said, I'm telling you right now, this offense is in trouble. And all the replies I got were, shut up. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. They're 4-2. They're going to be fine. They're not. They haven't been. Have they won football games? They absolutely have. Have they established their offensive identity? Not even close. Not even close. Now, you think they're going to turn it on come playoff time and a light's going to go off and they're just going to start feeding the football to Saquon? I mean, they were lucky. They were lucky they won that game. If I'm Nick Sirianni, I have no choice but to take more responsibility when it comes to the play calling and the offense. There's just too much to risk. There's too much. If they played the 49ers, Seattle, or the Rams, and that offense showed up against those teams, they would lose by 30 points. And don't give me this. They're deep. No. Those teams' offenses are head and shoulders above what the Buffalo Bills offense is. Head and shoulders, because Buffalo hasn't gotten off the mat. Buffalo's been an enigma as well. They've been extremely inconsistent. But I don't know how you can sit there objectively and talk about what the Eagles did in that third quarter. Punt, 5 plays, 3 plays, no sustainability. What kind of, are these professional drives? 5 plays, 13 yards, you burn 227. 3 plays, 0 yards, 25 seconds. 3 plays, 2 yards, and 212. Then in the fourth quarter, punt. How the hell did they get out of there with a win? How did they get out of there and with a win? I mean, listen, it's not even about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, 13 to 27, a $110. Ugh, yeah, not good. Their defense won that game. They sacked Josh Allen 5 times. They made plays when they had to. They were flying around the ball, but you can't keep that up. Your offense cannot go out on the field, and you can't have drives that are, 3 plays, 3 plays, punt, and then your defense goes right back out on the field. That's one of the reasons that I felt if I was McDermott, I'm going for the tie, going to overtime, because their defense was exhausted. There's my rationale in that. That's my rationale in that. Mackie chimes in, Q, that's not how it works when it comes to tanking. Steven says, man, are you lost? Did you see the Raiders bench 5 guys, including Crosby? He wasn't benched. He was not benched. He was placed on the friggin' IR. Get what the hell you're talking about. Raiders need a quarterback. They did what's necessary. They interviewed ex-Raiders coach Antonio Pierce, and while he said players play at the end, he said, well, we need a quarterback. But that's Antonio Pierce. He was also part of the Raiders. Like, come on. What are you talking about, Steven? Again, head up your ass on Monday. Seriously. Just stop. Eric chimes in, Q, tanking is real, whether you like it or not. Now, to your point, they don't make it super obvious, like you were saying to start the show. It's the smallest changes in the game that can change the outcome, and clearly Raiders did that. But with that being said, I agree with you. The Giants were not going to go out and purposely lose a game. The Jets, on the other hand, you guys got to get out of this mindset in the NFL. It's just utterly ridiculous. Did the Steelers suspend DK preeminently? DK has a history with that dude from his days with Seattle. Is the NFL culpable for not protecting the players? Now, he had a run-in with the player, but listen, you can't touch a fan. Period. You can't touch a fan. And this argument, too, with DK Metcalf and the incentives and the guarantees, well, you don't have to worry about that because he's still going to get his money. The NFL, he was going to get suspended. He was going to get suspended. You can't touch a fan. You just can't. But again, like I said the other day, it's an unpopular opinion, but sometimes if you run your mouth, you got to understand the consequences. This fan, I saw his press conference. How do you take this fan serious? The guy's having a press conference at a fold-up table, and his lawyer looked like a used car salesman, looked like a snake oil salesman. You can't take this clown serious. But it's all about protecting the shield. And that's all that Roger Goodell is concerned with. DK Metcalf, incentives, guarantee, Pittsburgh Steelers win a division, making the playoffs, be damned. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. The Steelers need to be careful here. They got to be careful because you're talking about a talented player, but a volatile player. And now, because he's out, it might cost them the division, which is going to cost them a playoff spot. They opted against voiding his contract guarantee, which on the surface, you would say, great job. Great job. Because he got suspended, Pittsburgh could have basically taken back all their guaranteed money. But they decided we're not going to do that. So what are they doing? They're siding with who? They're siding with the player. They don't want to do something like that. They want to now, on good faith, hey, man, We're not touching your wallet. We're not touching your coin. We're making the investment long term. I'm committing to you. You got to do it back. You have to reciprocate. And that's basically telling DK enough of the nonsense. We don't care what a fan says to you. We don't care who's getting under your skin during a game. You act the part. You come in, you play, you ball out, you help us win games, and you're going to be fine. Because if you remember, this guy signed a 4-year contract worth $132 million after the Steelers acquired him from Seattle. And that deal includes $60 million in guaranteed money. You're talking between signing bonuses in 2025 and 2026. Go look it up on Spot Track. So the suspension would have voided out the rest of his salary for the season and $45 million in future guarantees. And the Steelers could have done that. They could have said, pardon me, they could have said, you know what? We don't have time for these annex, man. Nope, see ya. They didn't. They didn't. And remember, it's clear as day, the NFL, the handbook, the guidelines, the memo, how to conduct yourself. Players may not enter the stands or otherwise confront fans at any time on game day. And the reason they worded it like that, it's different than entering the fans or jumping the Lambeau leap, celebrating with fans. You're talking about confronting the fans. If a player makes unnecessary physical contact, I touch you, with a fan, then that's what? Unsportsmanlike conduct, and you're going to be held accountable. Roger Goodell is all about protecting the image of the league, period. That's it. That is all he is concerned with. Okay? And the Steelers are trying to do right by the player, but now they got to also understand it might bite them in the ass going forward. Because without DK Metcalf, what did that offense do? That offense didn't do anything. New headphones, who this? AKA He 12 Man, AKA Heisman, AKA Steeler Nation, AKA Duval, also known as Vince, chimes in. Sup, people? Duval. We coming for that first round bye. That would be something. Q, why do these bunker Eagles fans think they are back after Buffalo gifted them the win? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't. I'm sure wrenches weren't being thrown. I'm sure, airplane mode was back. The mountains, there were signals, the Wi-Fi. I just don't know. And Sirianni is, man, this guy's such a jackass. He's so friggin' annoying. Just his mannerisms. He just annoys the hell out of me, man. I can turn the mic off and then sit there and say, I cannot wait for their demise, even though I actually said it on the air. But still, I just can't wait. They need to get knocked back down to earth. They really are, man. You're defending Super Bowl champ. I get it. You're not reminding everyone. You're this notion they reminded everyone Sunday they're the team to beat. According to who? I mean, seriously, stop. You won a football game in shitty conditions because Buffalo couldn't get their you-know-what out of their you-know-what. In spite of the fact that you did nothing offensively in the second half. Go do that against the 49ers, the Rams, and Seattle, and come talk to me. You will get waxed. Eagles are a flawed team because they have zero offensive identity. You're asking them to go out and play lights out defensive football every single solitary week now until if or they get to the Super Bowl for 60 minutes against teams that offensively can combat your defense. Quick hitches, they can run the football, screen passes, bubble, slants. All those teams I mentioned do that extremely well. 49ers run one of the best screen passes in the NFL because they had a great back. The Rams do it. The Rams have great wide receivers. Seattle does it. They can beat you in a variety of ways. Seattle can. Now, you think you're going to go on the road with that offense and beat them? No. No, and it's not even about, it's Purdy, it's dark. I don't care, man. Look what Purdy did last night. Kid's playing like an MVP. He's playing like an MVP. He's playing with ridiculous confidence. Did you see some of the touchdown passes? Did you see him scrambling? Did you see him improvising? The decision making? All right, the first play, tipped, pick, and then return. That happens. The 49ers, what would scare me about the 49ers is you can't allow teams to go up and down the field like that. That's going to be a hell of a game against Seattle for home field advantage. And if I'm the Eagles, I don't want to go to Seattle. I don't want to go to San Francisco and have to play these guys. I don't want to go to Los Angeles. I don't. Seattle is a really good coached team. Mike McDonald is a genius, man. I'm serious. He is a genius. He is a great head coach. And Darnold, I get it. He didn't have to be, 20 of 30 for 288. He was efficient yesterday. And that was a goofy game. It's 3-3. You go to the third quarter, it's a turnover, then they give it right back, then a fumble and give it right back. And then the good teams find a way to pull away. And that's what they did against Carolina. They pulled away and they beat them by 17. And they ran the ball for a buck 63, an average close to 4.7 yards on the ground. And Carolina just got punched in the mouth because they're not ready to compete with that caliber of opponent. Nice story. They're going to have an opportunity to make the playoffs, and I think that's fantastic. But they're not on the level of a Seattle, of a Rams, of a 49er team. Imagine the 49ers at full strength defensively with this offense. No one's beating them. I honestly, I believe that. No one's beating them. Can I make an uncomfortable point? The past 2 weeks by number, Sanders has better numbers against Allen, and Rodgers had better numbers than Ward when they played. Do we take anything from that? I watched a good portion of that Browns game yesterday. I think yesterday was more of a product of how inept Pittsburgh's offense is. The one thing I'll say about Shedeur Sanders, and he's got to have to learn this very fast, his decision making at times, you're not going to last in the NFL. And listen, Josh Allen shouldn't be chucking up the ball at this stage of his career. He shouldn't. Sanders is 23. He's had a handful of games. I'm hoping he matures in that regard. But again, efficient yesterday. Had a couple setbacks, little adversity, couple sacks, a couple picks, but efficient. 17 of 23, a buck 86, and the defense did the rest. Their defense did the rest. We talk about some of these teams that I think Scott asked this last week. Some of these teams that are bad this season that can quickly turn around. Now, Stefanski was asked about his future, and he was mum when asked about his future because they're trying to win football games. Now, be fair here. Cleveland and Pittsburgh, they hate each other. How much does that win mean to Cleveland and that fan base beating the Pittsburgh Steelers and perhaps knocking them out of playoff contention? Now, they're still winning in against Baltimore, but they did not allow Pittsburgh to clinch a playoff spot in their stadium yesterday. Defensively, they've got some pieces. I can see the Browns, if they really figure out what they're going to do at the quarterback position, they figure out the ground game, they've got some weapons, they play good defense, they could turn it around quickly. They can. And Sanders, part of me is now looking at this and saying, I don't like to Monday morning quarterback. I don't like doing that. But the Cleveland Browns were what? 2-7, 2-5 after they beat Miami. And I'm pretty sure Gabriel was the starter for what, 4 or 5 straight games. I would have started Sanders after the bye week against the Jets. But he's got a nice sample size, right? So he would have played against the Jets, Baltimore. They beat the Raiders. They lost to the 49ers, Tennessee, Chicago, Buffalo, Pittsburgh. But now we're talking what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, a half a season under his belt. That's a good sample size. That's a good sample size. And they need a running back. I mean, the last 2 weeks, or the last 3 weeks, or the last 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4, he's the team's leading rusher. You don't want that. They got to figure out what they're going to do at the back position. Now, I know that Their one back, Junkins, is hurt, but I think they have some pieces. And that win, for those that think Stefanski, including myself, was gone and he was going to get fired, that win goes a long way when you're talking about the brass. Kevin chimes in, Q. Speaking of which, what do you think that win does for Joe Shane yesterday? I don't know. I don't know what that win does for Joe Shane. Look, the the Giants, the Raiders need a quarterback. The Jets need a quarterback. Who knows what the Browns are going to do? The Saints believe they got this young kid. He can be their quarterback of the future. If you look at how the draft plays out right now, Vegas, Giants 1 2, Jets 3, Tennessee 4, Arizona 5, Cleveland 6, Washington 7, Saints 8, Kansas City 9, Cincinnati 10. Cincinnati, let's just say in a perfect world, they got Burrow. They didn't need a quarterback. Kansas City, who knows? Kansas City might go bring in a quarterback just because you want to back up Mahomes, but they still have Mahomes, Hall of Famer. New Orleans likes this kid. Washington has Daniels. Cleveland, Arizona, the Jets, Vegas. That's 4 teams that potentially need a quarterback. So even if the Giants draft number 2, you got wiggle room because you got your quarterback. And let me just say this finally on the tanking. What kind of tone does that set for a young team with a young quarterback, young running back, wide receivers, tight end, for a guy like Burns who's playing his guts out? What does that say when you openly are trying to put a bad product out on the field? Like, I'm not concerned about what the Raiders are doing. That's a dysfunctional franchise. They're a bad franchise. Geno Smith's not the answer. Pete Carroll, he's not the answer. They're going to have to blow it up and rebuild. They don't have the pieces, or at least a handful of pieces that the Giants do. The Jets don't. The Jets don't have a quarterback. The Giants believe they have a franchise quarterback. You want to set the tone and win a football game. Because I can tell you right now, the majority of the fan base that has been trolling me left and right and bitching and complaining at me, you guys, you wanted Jackson Dart to sit this season when I said start him. I said start Jameis Winston. You want Jackson Dart to be benched because, quote, you don't want him to get hit. But then when you see what he can do yesterday on the RPO and the design runs and scoring 2 more rushing touchdowns and slinging it, now you believe his quarterback. You can't have it every way you want in the NFL. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. It's a loser mentality. And you can't Monday morning quarterback, because go ask a Giant fan right now, would you rather have Abdul Carter and Jackson Dart or Cam Ward? And this is no disrespect for Cam Ward. It's just a reality. That's all. Q, you getting that new Broncos merch? Saying it, been there, won that. Let's go, Q Bronco ball. Whew, man. I love the fact that the AFC is, I really enjoy the parity in the NFL. I do. I did not want to. Every year, look, when the Bulls were winning as a Knicks fan, it killed me because the Knicks never got through the Bulls. You watched, you admired, and you respected it, right? When the Patriots were running roughshod through the AFC and the NFL, it's like, here we go, another Super Bowl with the Patriots. And obviously, the Giants knock them off. Maybe that's not the best example, but I can appreciate great runs and dynasties. But sometimes I want to see a new kid on the block. I want to see a new team have an opportunity, because then, for selfish reasons, as a fan, it gives me hope. Why can't the Giants turn around like Denver, New England? Why not? Or Washington the first year. If you're thinking to yourself, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. Oh man, we just need some pieces here and there. And look what these other teams are doing. I'll tell you the teams that are screwed. I'm going to tell you right now, we're talking about all these teams that are up and coming. How about some of these teams that are just shit out of luck? The Jets are shit out of luck. Buffalo, if they don't win it this year, they're shit out of luck. Pittsburgh, and I'm going to tell you something else. That's a brutal loss yesterday for all the Tomlin backers and the Aaron Rodgers backers and the loyalists and the apologists. If this team goes out and they lose to Baltimore without Lamar Jackson, you're going to tell me that the Steeler faithful is not going to want Tomlin? Here's the scenario. Baltimore wins. Tomlin retires, takes a year off, and goes in the booth. That's the scenario I'm going to paint for you on a Monday. And the same, if Harbaugh loses, you don't think in Baltimore? They're looking at Harbaugh right now. They're trying to figure out, who's going to be the sacrificial lamb. Sal chimes in. He's a diehard Baltimore fan. Where the hell was this ground game the last 5, 6, 7 weeks? You got a Hall of Fame back in Derrick Henry. How do you not give him the football? You got a Hall of Fame back, and you decide we're not going to give him the football over the last several weeks. They had no business losing to Cincinnati, no business losing to the Steelers. They didn't. And they dug themselves a pretty nasty hole. And they've done a heck of a job. Now, the flip side is, well, wait, you're 1-5, and now you got an opportunity to win 9 games and make the playoffs. That's a hell of a job by Harbaugh. No, 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 no. They've done it in spite. They did it because, A, the Packers are a banged up team and no Jordan Love. They've got some injuries. Their defense exposed. The Packers are in trouble. I mean, that's another team that's in trouble. You talk about one and done. They're in trouble. They're in trouble. But now this murky, cloudy picture we had on Friday is much more clear. New England in. Winner, Pittsburgh and Baltimore in. Buffalo in. Jacksonville in. Houston in. Denver in. Chargers in. We haven't even spoken about how good the Texans are, by the way. They're a scary team. Then in the NFC, Eagles in. Chicago's in. Green Bay's in. Carolina and Tampa winning in. And then the West, which is the best division of football, you got 3 teams. That's a juggernaut. That division is your classic war of attrition. That Seattle and San Francisco game for home field advantage reminds me already of 2008 when the Giants played Carolina and the game went into overtime, the last game of the season, and the Giants won and got home field advantage. Obviously, they didn't repeat because they got bounced in the divisional round against the Eagles. But that's the game where Derek Ward ran for like 250. That was one of the best football games I've ever seen in my life. It was one of the most highest rated Sunday night games. You might get an instant classic Sunday night. And we've been spoiled. For as much as we complain about bad football games, we're getting some really good football games of late, meaningful football games with some great finishes. But I love the parity in the NFL. I do. Vince chimes in. Q, you were right there. You were right that the Eagles' offense is off, but you still trust them in the playoffs over, say, the Seahawks or Bears, who are unproven and very young. Who said we were back? Stop. All I heard was every friggin' Eagles fan. Oh my God, what are you talking about with the nonsense? Seriously, don't on a Monday, don't give me the babe in the woods. Don't Luca Brasi. I don't have the patience for that nonsense. Oh, you beat the Raiders. Oh, you beat the Commanders. We're back. Oh, you beat the Bills. We're back. All I heard was just back, 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 back. I'm not talking about Boomer either. The Bears can give the Eagles a test. And I know why you guys are very reluctant to believe in Seattle because of the quarterback. You've made it very clear the last 2 years you are not a Darnold fan. But I don't need Sam Darnold to throw for 350 yards. Their defense is really good. They fly around the football. They get to the quarterback. They force turnovers. They're very opportunistic. Just go look at that game yesterday. You get the fluky pick, and then they get a couple picks or a couple fumbles and a couple turnovers, and Carolina finds himself down 17 points. That was a goofy game. It's 3-0. They fumble. Carolina gets the field goal. Then Seattle turns it over. Carolina's feeling pretty good about themselves. And what happens? Darnold has the pick, and then Carolina fumbles, and then Seattle gets it right back, and boom, touchdown. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. They go up 17-3 after another pick. So they turn these turnovers into points. That's what they do best. They're an opportunistic defense. And it's not that me not trusting them. So when you sit there and say, well, do you really trust Chicago or Seattle? I'll take my shot with them against the Eagles because I'm not a believer in the Eagles offense right now. Now, you want to sit there and say, well, wait a second. The Eagles are still the defending Super Bowl champs. They've done it before. The body of work, the resume, all that is accurate and all that is true. No one's disputing that. But I still go back. Show me the evidence that suggests that this offense is the offense we've seen in years past. Because you beat the Raiders 31 to nothing. Hell, the Giants just should put up 34 and the Giants are horrible. The Raiders are a bad team. If I'm an Eagles fan, I do have to worry a little bit because Nick Sirianni did not go outside the building when it came to his offensive coordinator. It's just like what Doug Peterson did years ago. Win a Super Bowl, but I got to stick with my guy, Press Taylor. I got to be loyal. I have to. You're going to tell me that the loss of Aaron Glenn, good coordinator, horrible head coach, or Ben Johnson, very good offensive coordinator, looks to be a hell of a head coach, didn't have an effect on the Detroit Lions? It does. It does. So Sirianni basically is painting himself in the corner. I mean, it annoys me. You have a great back, and it's pouring. No one's saying, Jalen Hurts, throw the ball in a torrential downpour. No, I'm not saying that. Just give me a little more better play calling. That's all. If the run game is not producing, then you know what? Roll out Jalen Hurts. Design RPOs, quick hitches, dinks and dunks. Get him in motion. You had 6 running plays that went for 2 yards or less in the second half. 6 rushing plays that went for 2 yards or less. Think about that. We always talk about down and distance, having a manageable down and distance in the NFL. A screen pass, a shovel pass for 4 yards is just as good as a run for 4 yards. A base hit, a walk is just as good as a base hit. You're on base. You're on base. So you're talking 6, 7 plays that go for 2 yards or less. I'm putting strain on my offense now. Instead of second and short, I'm in second and long. Now defensively, I can be creative. And by the way, this is on the caveat that you had to get off your 1 yard line after the 4th down stop on Josh Allen. So if you want to put a little note, a little asterisk on that drive, go ahead. So point is, you're digging yourself in a hole. And these 3 and out, they put a strain on the defense. I just made a stop. We're giving the offense the ball. You got good field position. Go do something with it. 3 and out punt. Now we're back on the field. Not good. And you go back to that one drive. Allen took the sack for like a 20-yard loss, which is just horrible. You get the ball back on your own 20-yard line. You go run, pass, punt. Now think about that. You get a big stop in the game. I mean, that's momentum. Run, pass, punt. So 3 and out. Your defense makes a stop. You go 3 and out. The defense goes right out there. That's just not good. It's not. You don't even take a shot on 1st and 2nd down. And Saquon was ineffective. Now, I said a couple minutes ago, you have an all-pro back. I'm saying use them when you need to use them. The problem with the Eagles, and you go back to Andy Reid, it's like the run-pass ratio. It's like feast or famine. You have to understand the feel and flow of the game. And this point, even though he's won a Super Bowl, Sirianni has no feel or flow of the game. He just doesn't. He just doesn't. You get a 1st down loss, 2nd down loss, the play's blown up. Now you got 3rd and 12, and you ran 30-something seconds off the clock. And you have an incompletion on 3rd and 12 because you got to throw the football. Stops the clock, and oh, by the way, your defense is right back out there. So, again, I don't mind running the football. If the ground game is not working and the offensive line can't run block, you still have to stay true to it, especially with a back like Barkley, because there can be a moment during a game where he breaks off that 18, 20, 25-yard run. Last year, 30, 40, 50, housed. But yet, Sirianni doesn't recognize this. Patullo doesn't recognize this. So now I'm putting more pressure on who? Jalen Hurts to make a throw, to make a play on 3rd and long. He hasn't done it consistently this year. He hasn't. He hasn't. So all year long, I'm stacking a box. I don't want Saquon to get his. I don't want him to go for 2,000 yards. We're stacking, we're stacking, we're stacking. Okay, knowing that, check to something else. Sirianni's not recognizing it. The quarterback's not recognizing it. The offensive coordinator is not recognizing it. That is a problem. When the Eagles had McNabb and Westbrook, they were a brilliant team when it comes to running the screen pass, drawing up a screen pass. It's, once you get that 3rd and long and it's a little misdirection, you saw last night with San Francisco. We go this way, defense goes that way. Here you go. Right to CMC, picks up 18 yards. Buffalo does it with Cooks. The Giants used to do it for years with Tiki Barber. The Eagles did it with Westbrook. Minnesota used to do it with AP. Like misdirection. You want to overload, but be creative. There's no creativity. It's vanilla. It's bland. It's like you want to sit there, you want to enjoy your hamburger, but there's no cheese, there's no mustard, there's no ketchup, there's no onions, there's no peppers, there's no bacon, there's no pickles, there's nothing. It's bland. That's what their offense is. That's what their offense is. And it's going to bite them in the ass. It is. I'm the only one who can say the Eagles are back. I speak for the Bunker Boys. Put some respect on my name. At this point, if the Browns are serious about moving on from Watson's 5th-round pick is the best way forward, whether he's a long-term solution or not, you can build a team and decide in 27. I have no idea what they're going to do with Watson. I really don't. Your Giants and Commanders are what? Poor GM. Your teams will languish in mediocrity until the situation is addressed. See what that is right there? That's tit for tat. I want the viewing audience and the listening audience tuning in right now on the AUDACY app and Coastal Sports Digital Network, SR 1029 FM, the game. I want them to see this comment. So we call this a nitpick comment by an Eagles fan. This is tit for tat. You know what tit for tat is? So I say something derogatory about the Eagles, which is fact-based. And the little rat Eagles fan, the bunker boy, who's pretty much always in the mountain. I'm surprised the phone works where you can comment in. I don't even know. Is the reception good today? I know the weather's a little iffy wherever you are. I know it's iffy where we are. But now you come with the little shot, tit for tat, because I took a little shot at your offense. San Fran, Seattle, Saturday night led the NFL greet. Yeah, why not? Because you guys know you're going to be parked, right? Thank you. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Read the room. This is where we're at right now on a Local Door Day Radio, Lunas, Man Up, Manolo, Mentioso, Man Up Monday. It's not a Woosah Wednesday, but some things have to be addressed for 2026. And one of them is going to have to be how the Bunker Boys contort themselves or comport themselves on the air because they don't know how to read the room. They just don't. They really don't. Talking about the Washington Commanders, just stop. Talking about the Giants, stop. Ludicrous. KC chimes in. Q, what do you think the Jets are going to do with Aaron Glenn? After yesterday, I don't know how in the world you are Woody Johnson and you believe Aaron Glenn is the right head coach going forward, which I'll get into on the other side. 16 to book, 60 to play with. Man, I can always count on you for calling out to BS, brother. We'll take you up to 6 o'clock straight up. We're hoping to hear from Lloyd Vance. If not, we got you guys for another 60. Keep it locked in SR 1029 FM the game. On Kicks, on Rumble, on X, on the YouTube channel. We will go around the league. A lot of comments coming in. We'll rip through them as well. We'll take you up to 6 o'clock on this Monday edition of On Cue, powered by our good friends over at Fresh Roasted Coffee. 20% off your first purchase. BYP20, Three Brooks Bourbon. Might need a shot dealing with some of you commenters on this Monday. We'll be right back right after this. All right, 5 o'clock on a Monday edition of On Cue. Rich Quinones here. Appreciate you guys chiming in, keeping us locked in on YouTube channel X, SR 1029 FM The Game, Coastal Sports Digital Network, Rumble and Kicks, and the Odyssey app. As always, get social with me at Rich Q on Q, X and IG, TikTok, Rich Q on the mic. Let's get back to the comments, see what you guys have to say. And I'm glad some of you guys understand about reading the room because many do not. Steve chimes in. Didn't it look to you like the Raiders were tanking on purpose? Teams do tank, and the Raiders are proof. No, 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 no. Go away, go away, go away. William chimes in. William F. Love to see. I would love to get a head coach who has success in the NFL. Rich, rookie coaches work for one season with the Giants and two and three, and then the inexperience shows up. We need a head coach who's big on discipline. We need a defensive coordinator who's going to utilize our pass rushers like they should be used, and solid secondary. Bobby chimes in. You sit the regulars, play the second and third stringers. That'll take away any issues of tanking. The win does nothing for this team this year. That's the equivalent. But that's by definition what you guys are saying tanking is. Come on. Uh, Mark Mulholland chimes in. Q. Watched some of the games on NFL Red Zone yesterday with only a couple of games in the afternoon slot. I actually got to see a fair amount of games. During one clip, it was between plays, and Kevin Harlan was explaining the draft order depending upon who won and who lost in the context of tanking. This is a very good point you're bringing up. Thank you, Mark. At the end of his explanation, there was dead silence. He finally said to Trent Green, no comment. No, he actually said he asked Trent Green his comment on it. And Trent Green, I believe, said no comment. Trent then talked about the fact that no player deliberately wants to lose draft choice or not. He completely dismissed the idea that either team was tanking yesterday. The game to demonstrate just how idiotic it was for Ben McAdoo to bench Eli for Geno Smith. Loving the show, Q. P chimes in. Q's tanking for losers. I don't know what the hell these listeners are thinking about. Tom chimes in. You rest your starters. Don't play anyone who is even slightly injured. If you look at the Jets, that's not tanking. They're just bad. You mentioned this, Q. Tennessee's playing hard. New Orleans is playing hard. Cincinnati's playing hard. The Raiders are another issue. They need to be investigated by the league. So I wouldn't go that far in great comments, and I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate you guys chiming in. Thank you. Good stuff. Little flurry of comments coming in on Facebook and X. It's an apples and oranges discussion. It really is in the NFL because it's the taboo. Nobody wants to talk about that, right? It's the taboo. And you get to a point where your season can spiral out of control in the NFL pretty fast. It really can. It can spiral out of control because you have a bad loss. It's a bad losing streak. Your quarterback gets injured. Colts were 8-2. They were the toast of the NFL. Now they're eliminated from playoff contention. They lose Daniel Jones. So season spiral. If you're really smart and understand the league, and I'm being very serious, I'm not trying to be dismissive to anyone. I'm not. Just follow me. If you watch sports long enough, if you played sports, if you really understand the NFL, yes, there is this elephant in the room. Why are they not starting this guy? Why did they sit this guy? Why did they bench that guy? But a lot of that, 99.9%, is due to the fact that the guy can't, won't, will never, or hasn't been able to play. So, like, for instance, the Raiders. Bowers goes on the IR. Do you think the Raiders in the NFL are happy that Max Crosby came out and put out an IG video where he's shooting baskets in his homemade gym, which was gorgeous, by the way? Do you think the Raiders are happy with that? Now, Crosby has come out. I mentioned this on Saturday's show. Crosby has basically come out and dismissed the notion of tanking. You know, he's a guy that wants to play. He's got passion for the game. He's got love for the game. He's a defensive cornerstone. You can talk about the knee injury, and now they're shutting him down. So my counter to these goofballs saying, well, the Raiders did it. Well, hold on a second. They didn't bench Crosby. He wasn't benched. Benching is a coach's decision. When a player gets benched, it's usually because lack of production or some type of issue off the field, or within the locker room, missing practice, not paying attention, late to practice, falling asleep, not engaged. That's benching. This guy's hurt. Now he wants to play. He's got 10 sacks. I believe 4 of those have come in the last 5 games. So he's showing you, even with his knee injury, I can still play at a certain level, and he's shooting baskets, but he's going to have surgery. So in this regard, the Raiders are saying, no, 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 no. We know more than you. You don't want to sit. We understand that. But we know more than you. We've invested a ton of money in you. Period. And it's one of the reasons you're on the IR, because of your knee. So for him to come out and put these videos up on IG, that's a horrible look. All that does for the pro tank, for the conspiracy theorists out there that believe the NFL, you're tanking, all that does is just fuel the fire. That's all that does. David chimes in, Q, I'm going to tell you that no player in the league is thinking of draft picks. They're thinking about their jobs, playing hard so they don't get hurt. Some guys might kind of half-ass it, as you said, business decisions because they are generally discouraged, but I don't take it to the idea that guys between the lines think about not winning. Agree. Kim chimes in, how many of these players will be looking for jobs next season? They can't take off because what you do on the field is on your resume for your next job. Players don't tank. Thank you, Rich. They don't. Now, you want to talk about play calling and why in the world the Raiders turn around knowing the Giants have a poor run defense and they're letting Geno Smith sling it? I don't know. Now, here's the other thing. The Giants can still get the number 1 draft pick, but the Raiders have to go out and they have to beat Kansas City. Geno Smith's done for the season. But point is, again, you got too much on the line. You just got too much on the line. You're not going to half-ass it. You're just not. Honestly, Q wasn't even putting it on Darnold. More of coaches, first-year head coaches and play callers. They can sometimes get a little off script in the playoffs when things go tight or things get tight. Yeah, that's a fair point. It is. However, so you got Sean Payton in Denver, Rabel in New England. These guys have been around the block, right? They've been around the block. Now you're talking about McDonald. You're talking about maybe Canales in Carolina. Harbaugh with the Chargers, been around the block, right? Ryan's been around the block with the Texans. Harbaugh with the Ravens. Tomlin with the Steelers. I get what you're saying. I think this coach is really good for Seattle. I really do. The way he schemes, this is a very good football team. They're a really good football team. I've watched a lot of Seattle this year, and I'm impressed. And it's not even about Darnold. Darnold's had a nice season. His picks are a little high, but they can run the football. He distributes the football. You've got wide receivers left and right. You got guys that make plays, man, and their defense is really good. They got 44 sacks, 45 sacks. They got edge rushers. They got linebackers that can cover wide receivers and tight ends. They're good. They're good. They're really good. Now, fourth quarter against the Rams, against the 49ers, on the road, 80 yards, 2 minutes to go. You guys are probably not going to trust Sam Darnold because you're going to go by his past body of work. And that's fair. That's fair. You go to that game last season, against the Lions, he spit the bit. You go to the playoff game, he spit the bit. These are fair. I can make the same case for Josh Allen at times. I can make the same argument for Justin Herbert as well. But I'm going to trust Allen over everyone, even though he didn't play well yesterday. I'll trust Patrick Mahomes at 100% over everyone, even though he's injured. And obviously they didn't make the playoffs. So I get what you're saying. Young coaches, young teams, Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, fair point. Fair point. But they had an opportunity to win that game last night, and Caleb Williams just missed DJ Moore. Robert chimes in, I'm a Packers fan, but good point on the 49ers. There's no way they're going to make a deep run if they can't get guys off the field. You're talking about offenses. Yeah, I mean, the 49ers, in a perfect world, you don't want to give up 35 points. but they're playing at a ridiculous high level on the offensive side. They really are. Luca Brazzi. What else is new? I keep receipts, Q. You're getting some bad intel on Eagles fans. We are worried. No, you're not. You know why I know you're not? And it's not, by the way, it's not even, I'm not even going to waste my time putting you on blast because I will say this at this moment. Um, there are better storylines in the NFL than the Philadelphia Eagles. I, I just got news for you. There's better storylines. There's just better storylines. You know, Stafford can wrap up the MVP. Drake May is making it pretty hard. Lions eliminated. Broncos trying to lock up, you know, home field advantage. I mean, there's a lot on the line and better story. New England, second year, Drake May. Did you watch what New England did yesterday? Like the Eagles are almost this afterthought. Yeah, you're defending Super Bowl champs. And maybe if you're an Eagles fan, you want that. Drake May has 4,200 yards. He's thrown 30 touchdowns. Now, isn't it crazy how I said last week, well, maybe if Drake May goes off over the next 2 weeks and has like 10 touchdown passes. Well, what did he do yesterday? How many did he have? 5? And can we talk about one thing too? Let's talk about this for a second. What the hell is Fox thinking? What is Fox thinking? You know, in years past, do you remember when you're watching a game and it's a friggin' blowout and then Menifee would come on or James Brown would come on CBS and say, hey, we're going to take you to a more competitive game, which if you're a fan and they switch your game off in the friggin' third quarter, that's embarrassing. What the hell was Fox doing with that game still on yesterday? Like, get rid of it. And then, oh, we're going to go to bonus coverage. You're going to bonus coverage in the last 30 seconds of the Tampa Bay game, which was done. Like, come on, man. What are we doing here? I got to sit on that slop of the Jets. They're down 42 to friggin' 3. And you're going to keep, I got to watch that whole game? Bonus coverage, my ass. That's a horrible job. Horrible job by CBS. Horrible job by Fox. Horrible job by Nance and Romo, not mentioning DK Metcalf until the last play of the game. Horrible. Got to do better. Come on. Put me on blast. I don't have time for that. If you want a Bunker Boy quote, you contact my representation. I will give it to you. Wow. Okay. I got a quote for you. How about this? You want a quote on a Monday at 5:20? Do you want a quote? The Philadelphia Eagles will lose their first playoff game. Mark the tape. Go ahead. Not reverse mush, not spite. They will lose their first playoff game. Then you want to come on if they win and troll me, give it to me. That's fine. But I'm so tired of the Bunker Boys. I'm so tired of the Eagles fans. I'm so tired of that head coach with his punchable friggin' face getting fired up. Get the hell out of here. They're winning in spite of him. They're winning in spite of the quarterback. And I gotta deal with this nonsense. If it's not for Josh Allen and his mistakes early on and McDermott deciding to go for 2, you don't win that football game. Get out of here. Go. Flip the dial. Go ahead. I'm okay with that. Breaking Broncos news. According to reports, the Chargers sitting Justin Herbert on Sunday to rest. How about this? Bronco ball. Michael comes with a breaking news. Do I have a breaking news? I don't think I have breaking news. Do I have breaking news music? Let me see. No, we don't want this. No, snare, no. We can't do the doorbell ring because the dog will bark. No, we don't like that. I thought, trumpet sound? No, we don't want that either. Oh. Did you watch the Chargers and the Texans game? They destroyed Herbert. I knew he was hurt. His arm was like dangling like a fish. Wow. Do we have a confirmation on that? Let's see. I mean, listen, I always love to trust my Q Crew sources. The Chargers clinched a playoff berth last week, but lost their AFC West title shot to the Texans. So Harbaugh announced Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh told reporters that quarterback Justin Herbert will not start Sunday versus Denver. The road through the AFC goes through Mile High and Bronco Ball. Wow. Well, let get the game out, get the W first because we saw what happened to Pittsburgh. Steeler Nation 6 chimes in. Q. Oh my God, I can't believe you're 100% correct. I knew this team was going to find a way to effing choke. I can't stand Tomlin. I can't stand Rodgers. What the hell are they thinking on that last series? Rodgers missed a couple wide open throws. Now, the one down the seam was gorgeous, but you want Rodgers of 7 years ago. You're not getting it. I'm telling you, if they don't win against Baltimore, and they miss out on the playoffs, I believe Mike Tomlin will retire and take a year off and go in the booth and recharge. That's a bad loss yesterday if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. You have no business losing to Cleveland. You don't. You don't. I'm not knocking Cleveland for playing hard, and I know it's the NFL. You got a rivalry game, teams that hate each other. The last thing that I felt the broadcast was more concerned about Myles Garrett. And, Garrett came out and said, I think they were more concerned about me getting the sack record than just playing football. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Guys always yap after the fact. That's just a fact, right? They just, they always talk. You get the dub, now you talk, right? And then comments become folklore and NFL Films takes it and, hey, man, dilly dilly Philly special. Yeah, let's run it. Let's do it. I mean, if the play doesn't work, we're never going to hear that comment. The play worked, so we're going to hear the quote. That's just how it is when you're talking about that. So, Luca Bunker, who is your administrative? That's a great question. Do you think the Bunker boys have an HR? I don't believe they do. I guarantee you, the Bunker boys are probably they're probably cooking the books. They're probably cooking the books. God knows who the hell is keeping up with their accounting, their finances. I guarantee you, these freaking clowns probably write everything off. They write everything off. They go to the strip club, afternoon, C team, and they're writing that off as a business. They're probably writing it off as an investment meeting. Going to the movies. Oh, that's film study. Got to write that off. I don't trust the B-boys. I don't. They're starting to fill into the show and just fill into my MacBook and my monitor and my microphone. It's bad juju. Dog from Mount Laurel. Ooh. Well, I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad. Spite written all over, booking my tick to Santa Clara right now. Go ahead. You're one and done. Go ahead. It's not a spite pick. Don't even try to come up with that crap. Don't. Scale of 1 to 5, 5 being strongest, trust 1, not at all. Ranked teams you trust in the playoffs: Texans, Jags, Bears, or Seattle. Young teams and young coaches. I would go, that's a great question. CJ Stroud concerns me a little bit. I don't know about you guys. He worries me a little bit. I can't figure CJ Stroud out. I can't. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback. And I think his decision making at times Kiki agrees. I think his decision making at times is horrible. It's horrible. 525, a lot of comments coming in. Quick timeout. Don't forget, we're powered by our good friends over at Three Brooks Bourbon. I'm going to finish that comment and that question, Vince, on the other side. Also, Played Against Sports. 2 locations, Deptford and Mount Laurel. Quick timeout. We'll come back on the other side. All right, 5:30. Let me get back to a couple comments. We'll take up to 6. So, Vince, what a good question. 1 to 5, 5 being strongly trust, 1 not at all. So 5, I really trust you. 1, I don't. Uh, the Texans defense, they're playing a really high level. I would put them at 1. I would go Seattle 2. I would go Jacksonville 3, Chicago 4. Defense wins championships. But I also think Seattle has a pretty good offense. The Texans' offense at times a hit or miss. Their defense is exceptional. They really are. Their defense, their defense right now, I think, is better than Denver's defense. Sorry, Bronco Ball. I think they know they get to the quarterback at just an ungodly pace. And they are ball hawks too. And they're a really good tackling team. They really are. They really know how to tackle. 45, 46 sacks on the season. They really know how to tackle. Hold up. We got to fix the microphone. So, as I was saying, yes, they can tackle. They cause turnovers. They play short field. I like the Texans. The Texans can make a Super Bowl run. They can. Little concern about CJ Stroud. All these teams you're talking about, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they can make a Super Bowl run too. This is the beauty of this year with the parity in the NFL. Denver can make a run. New England can make a run. The Rams make a run. Look, even the Eagles can get back to the Super Bowl. Let's be fair. All these teams we're talking about, I would say the only team I don't think can make a run, Baltimore and or Pittsburgh, no, because Baltimore's defense is very suspect. Carolina's too young of a team. Tampa Bay, what happened to Tampa Bay? Such a down season for the Bucks. Maha, number 1 seed, 1 more game queue. I know, that's crazy. I also appreciate the reverse Eagles mush playoff prediction. Well, that's why I'm here. We do like to take care of our own, do we not? We just got to call it the way it is. Death Star Mike strikes again. No, it was just a little tap, 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 right? Just tap it, just tap it. That's all. Oh my God. These Giant fans are just friggin' relentless today. God. Q, did you see the Raiders were allowing Robinson to look like Justin Jefferson? Kid's going to get paid in the offseason. He is. He absolutely is. Eric chimes in. Q, they haven't been doing blank blank all season. Don't come through now. Got to play the long game, not some pathetic win. It's not a percent. You want to set the tone. Your quarterback needed a W, right? Death Star Mike should have been a prop in Stranger Things. It's definitely possessed. Never watched Stranger Things. I never got into it. I'm ripping through Homeland, by the way. Unbelievable. I am ripping through Homeland. Scotty B chimes in. Q, that was a hell of a game last night for my Bears. Didn't pull it out, but very exciting. That was a great, great game. It was a great game. B chimes in. Q, did you see that? The Birds are not very aggressive nor creative on 3rd down. Breaking point. Yeah, I mean, look, I think defenses are learning right now. I'm going to stack the box, and if I can figure out a way to just slow down AJ Brown and Smith, right? I don't let Goddard go off, which again, these are a lot of tough ask. You gotta look at the coverage they were playing yesterday. So on 3rd and long, I don't feel the need to play beyond the sticks. So 3rd and 13, 3rd and 14, 3rd and 15, I'll let the wide receiver run that 7-8 yard out because they're playing conservative, especially if it's on their own 15, 20, 25 yard line, right? Because even if it's you pick up 7 and it's 4th and 4 on the 42, Sirianni's not going for it unless it's the other side of the field. So I'm not going to let you get past the sticks. And What Buffalo did yesterday is they took the underneath route away, and they also kept Hurts for the most part in check. Jalen Hurts is better when he's running and he's improvising. And when I say running, he's scrambling, he's making plays on third down. So the, you know, it's not always on the quarterback. Guys got to get open. You got to catch the football, but it's the O line too. And I feel as though we're sitting there talking about Sirianni, we're talking about Patullo. It's just not on the quarterback. The offensive line hasn't been that great offensive line that we've seen in years past. Now, obviously, you lose a guy like Lane Johnson and the line's banged up. Eagles fans know this, and you have to accept this. The O line can't run block. And yesterday, offensively, the OC, they called a horrible game. You had 0 completions, 0 runs for a first down in the second half. And like I said, it's just your quarterback also has to make plays. It's a culmination of everything. So when we look at a quarterback that's got 25 touchdowns and 4 picks and 3,000 yards, 3,500 yards, we sit there and say, "Man, he's an all pro." But look what he's doing within the system. Like, ask yourself this right now. Be fair. Right now, forget about last season. I know it's like I'm talking. I'm a judge, and I'm talking to the jury box right now. Like, disregard the comment. Forget about last season. And I'm talking to the Eagles fan right now. Do you believe at this moment, Jalen Hurts, the way this offense is playing, Jalen Hurts can lift and carry this offense and they get to the NFC Championship? They get to the Super Bowl. Right now, as presently constructed, don't worry about last year. Right now, at this moment, the way this offense is playing, do you believe Jalen Hurts is the quarterback that can basically lift up this offense? And if your answer is no, you got a problem. You got a serious problem. And you're not going to make a deep run in the playoffs. I'm not faulting. It's not all on Hurts. It's not. The play calling is bad. It's bad. I can't always have my wide receiver bail me out. Watch the game last night. Watch how Shanahan and that offense was humming. And if you really watch that game closely, the Bears, they kept punching San Francisco in the mouth. They did. I mean, you blink and that game's 14-14 after one quarter. Like, it was a track meet. But my point is, the Bears get a pick six. But what does San Francisco do? They come right back and they go 9 plays, 65 yards. Poised as can be. They get the ball back. What do? 3 plays, 66 yards. Purdy with a 10-yard run. Boom. The Bears answer. That kid Bourbon was a beast. I hope he can go, going forward. I think he'll be okay for the regular season finale. And the Bears score, and it's 14-14. Now, here's the mark of a good team. The 49ers answered. The Bears scored again. The 49ers answered. Now, that's the type of game it was. Back and forth, up and down. Who's going to have the ball last is probably going to have an opportunity to win the game. Chicago had it last. The 49ers made a stop. Caleb Williams missed a couple throws. Caleb Williams had DJ Moore wide open. He didn't see him. Split second. They're winning that game. But go to the last offensive drive that the 49ers had. That was a thing of beauty. It really was. Like, those are championship types of drives. And you only see them 4 or 5 times during the regular season. Josh Allen, we've seen the championship type of drive. Patrick Mahomes, we've seen that during the regular season. And then obviously we've seen it in the playoffs. But that drive last night for the go-ahead touchdown, the eventual difference in 42-38 win, that's a thing of beauty. The 49ers are down 3. You got 3:07 to go. They never panicked. You know, the whole don't score too fast. Shut up, Collingsworth. 7 plays, 75 yards, 4 yard run, 7 yard pass, 3 yard pass, 18 yard pass, 38 yard touchdown pass. Jennings, right? On the little slant catch, go, boom. It's a gorgeous drive. They went right down the field, and then they had to get a stop, and they did. They got to stop. Look, they gave up chunk yardage, absolutely, but when they needed to make a play, they made a play, and that's all you can ask. That's all you can ask. First and goal, San Fran, 2 yard line, incompletion. Second and goal, they pressured Williams. They pressured him. He overthought, overanalyzed, bought time. Wasn't the right decision. Should have got the ball out quicker to more. The game's over. And instead, the 49ers make a stand. They held them. That's a championship, like 5 minutes by the 49ers. That's a championship 5 minutes. The Eagles had those moments last season. They've had those moments last season. They haven't had those moments this season. They really haven't. They just haven't. Q hot take right now. I think Aaron Glenn's going to be a casualty on Black Monday. It's not even a hot take. I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. At this moment, this whole just get in, I'm not, this season, I don't fully subscribe to it. The whole get in and you can make a run. I think Buffalo's in trouble. I don't like the makeup of the Buffalo Bills. They've had some bad losses this season. The Dolphins' loss was bad. The Texans, I think, exposed them. And then yesterday, that's a panic move going for two. That's a panic move. I just don't agree with it. You had the Philadelphia Eagles. That defense was gassed. And whose decision is that? Who does that fall on? That falls on again the head coach. That falls on the head coach. And McDermott, a lot of times these head coaches, they're not going to backtrack. They're not. Because he was asked why he decided to go for two, trailing 13-6. So you scored a touchdown, you get the sneak, you get 5 seconds to go, and you had the game-tying extra point. He goes for two. He said, quote, wanted to be aggressive going for the win. We feel like there's only a certain amount of time left at that point, and we felt like we had a great call, great opportunity to go win it. I want to be aggressive. I'm not going to sit back. Okay. So let's dissect this for a minute. That decision, it's very understandable Monday morning quarterbacking why McDermott chose to go for two. Because it's pretty easy. This is what happens, and you guys have pointed it out every single week for as many years as I've been on the air, a long time. When coaches overthink and overanalyze, and they try to be too smart. You go back earlier in the fourth quarter. It's a 13-0 game. The Bills scored, I think, midway through the fourth. The extra point was blocked. Jalen Carter got a pull up. It's a 7-point game. Now, did that play factor in? McDermott said potentially. I think that's a crock of shit. He went on to say it wasn't everything, but I trust Josh Allen with the ball in his hands and I'll do it all over again. Okay. Fine. But again, you're making it harder than it has to be. The Bills have made the season much more harder on themselves than it could have been. Because if you're a wild card team, you're pretty much going to have to play on the road throughout the playoffs. And unless you win a tiebreaker and you get that number 5 seed, you're going to have to face Denver, the Patriots, Jacksonville Texans, or Chargers on the road in the first time. That is a tough draw. Now, you got Josh Allen, you got Superman, Clark Kent, Superman, boom, you take your chances. I don't trust the head coach. I don't. I do not trust the head coach at all. The Eagles' defense was gassed. John chimes in from Buffalo. Q, absolutely the correct decision. Current kicker is less likely to be successful on PAT than Allen Company on 2-point conversion. If I had a kicker, this would have never have happened. I I disagree with you. I do. It was a great call. They didn't execute it. And you're probably right. You come on the air and say that's a ballsy call. That's why Buffalo is Buffalo and Josh Allen with the ball in his hands. All that is true. But I think the bigger picture is you tie the game up, you get the ball, and you got a spent defense, and then you got Josh Allen, and then you win the game in overtime. And I understand they felt the need to kind of, knowing that New England won and trying to, again, have an opportunity to win the AFC East. It's just a tall ask. It really is. I wouldn't have gone for two. I wouldn't have. I just Dan Campbell would have gone for two. Rabel would have gone for two. McDermott, he's just kind of hit or miss. He's hit or miss. He's not uberly or all the time conservative. Uh, AB chimes in. Q, good call on Tomlin. Did you see his reported that Tomlin and Harbaugh could take TV jobs? Well, here's another thing that I haven't heard one person bring this up, and now you're going to hear it right now. There is a report. Now follow me. There is a report right now. There is mutual interest that the Atlanta Falcons want to pry Matt Ryan out of the booth and hire Matt Ryan to the front office. So they're having a conversation right now. And obviously, Matt Ryan, standout career, his whole career with the Falcons, aside from the one season with Indianapolis. Arthur Blank, the Falcons absolutely think the world. Matt Ryan's a legend with Atlanta. I don't know if he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, but Matt Ryan's a legend. He was a very, with Atlanta, he was a very good quarterback, great quarterback in the NFL for a long time, MVP. Now, obviously, he's part of the NFL and CBS. So think about this. Knowing he's having these discussions, McManus and Company and CBS, they think ahead. Imagine a guy like Tomlin and or Harbaugh at the desk. Um, the pregame, NFL and CBS. One of these two coaches is going to have to make a decision to make after Sunday because only one team's getting in. And I'm leaning towards Baltimore winning this game, figuring out what the hell they're going to do with Lamar Jackson in the offseason and see if they can mend that relationship between Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson. If or when the Steelers lose this game, then the next logical thing is, okay, we just lost Matt Ryan, Mike Tomlin, let's see what he thinks about coming in the booth or being part of the pregame NFL Today, which would be interesting because who's also on that set? Bill Cowher. So you got two up three in the franchise history coaches of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, they'd hire someone, and we can cross Freeman off the list. Giant fans as well. He's going back to Notre Dame. He's not leaving for the NFL. But that's just an interesting scenario that if Matt Ryan decides to leave, they're going to want to fill that spot. And if Tomlin decides I'll take a year off, I can see Tomlin going to CBS. I can see Tomlin being part of ESPN. Harbaugh, I don't see that. Harbaugh, he wants to coach. He wants to coach. So if Atlanta's really serious about Matt Ryan and bring him into the booth, and you're talking about a former Pro Bowl quarterback, MVP, should have been a Super Bowl champ, 28-3, that's not a bad route to go. It's not a bad route to go. Sal chimes in. Q, do you honestly think that Harbaugh is going to be done if they lose? I'm not saying he's going to be done. What I'm saying is this. Harbaugh and Tomlin have been around for a very long time. And they've won a lot of games. They've gone to the playoffs a lot of times, but their success came very early. And it's what have you done lately? That's all. That's all. PD chimes in. Q, think about this. Philly was up 2 touchdowns with less than 6 minutes to go. They're fighting for their friggin' life to win a game and hold on. How the hell can I feel good about this win? You want to sit there and say a win is a win, and you win ugly, and the defense made plays? So be it. You don't get, um, there's no participation trophy, right? There's no glamour points when it comes to winning the NFL. A win is a win, no doubt. And it kind of goes to where we started the show. Coaches want to win football games. Players want to win football games. And players, some of them got to play hurt. Lamar Jackson might not be available in that game. Now, opening line, and I can pull up the look ahead real quick. So that Panthers Bucks right now, Tampa at home, favored by 2.5, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. There's still, by the way, there's still this quirkiness, even if they lose and Atlanta wins and you have a 3-way tie. How goofy would that be? Think about how quirky the NFC South is. So Carolina is 8-9, Tampa is 7-9, and then Atlanta is 6-9. Now, obviously, Atlanta can't win the division and they can't make the playoffs, right? But the scenario is funny because the breakdown is winner take all for the division title. So the Bucks need a win to clinch. I think it would be their fourth or fifth NFC South. The Panthers can win with a victory or even a loss if the Falcons lose out because of the tiebreaker. How crazy is that? That is, I mean, that's bizarre. You start getting in the tiebreaker scenario. Now, look, you just want to take care of business. I think Carolina in the playoffs would be a great story. Baker's banged up. The Bucks offense is banged up. I just, I don't, I don't like Tampa Bay. I think Carolina is the story here. I want to see Bryce Young get into the playoffs. I want to see Carolina get into the playoffs because it shows a very fast turnaround. This was a team we were questioning the quarterback a couple years ago. Too many sacks, benched, looks lost. They need a bridge quarterback. They bring in Dalton. I think Carolina has been a great story this season. I think Jacksonville has been a really good story. I think the Colts at 8-2 were a great story with Daniel Jones, but then he gets hurt. Denver's a good story. New England's a good story. Robert chimes in Q right now. Head coach of the year, go. Mm, I mean, this might be the year where you get, you know, coach of the year in the NFL. Um, Shanahan has done a remarkable job. He really has. McDonald has done a great job. Cohen has done a really good job. Um, Mike Grable has done a really good job. Wow. It's a really good question. Drake May, the Ascension, has been wonderful to watch. Denver's defense, Bo Nix. Jacksonville, you're talking about a 12 wins. That's a pretty damn good. That's an impressive turnaround. This team was 4-13 last year. They might win 13 games this year. That's incredible. And they had a 4-game losing streak and a 5-game losing streak last season. And their quarterback was hurt. Their quarterback was hurt for half the season. Jacksonville's had a wonderful turnaround. Cohen, you definitely give him a nod. McVay, always give him a nod. What about Ryans? What about Harbaugh with the Chargers? I'm trying to think. Peyton. I think the coach of the year. I feel like Ben Johnson is going to get a lot of love. I really do. I think Ben Johnson, they kept the GM Ryan Poles. They fired the head coach. They hired Ben Johnson, and he's done a really good job with Caleb Williams. I would say right now, I mean, all these guys that I mentioned are worthy. If it was voting today, I would say Ben Johnson. I really do. I think Ben Johnson is he's a good head coach. He really is, man. He personifies Chicago, that grit, that toughness. The players love playing for him. That would have been a remarkable win last night. And let's take a step back. Look what happened last year with Chicago. Their season flipped when they lost to Washington. They went this way, Washington went that way. This year, Chicago's winning games that in years past they wouldn't have won, right? I mean, they wouldn't have won. They beat the Raiders late. They beat Washington late. They beat the Giants. They beat the Vikings late. They beat the Steelers. That was a big win. They came from behind. They beat the Eagles. That was a huge win. They beat the Packers. That was a big time win. And they were a touchdown away from going on the road against arguably one of the best teams in the NFL and beating the 49ers. And they put up 40 or 38 points. I just love what he's doing. And I think the offensive line is so underrated, really underrated. Caleb Williams has only been sacked 23 times. Think about the adjustments they made. He was sacked almost 70 times last season. He's only been sacked 23 times. So I would say Ben Johnson. Yeah, Cohen, I mean, I mentioned him too. I did. It's a great turnaround, but you also have a veteran. You got a veteran in Trevor Lawrence, right? So it's like, okay, the Bears are doing with a second year quarterback, first time head coach, right? Trevor Lawrence been around the block, but I can appreciate what Cohen has done because they lost so many games last year. And even when they had Doug and they got rid of Doug and then it made Caldwell the fall guy. And then here you go, you bring in Cohen. Excellent job. They're a sleeper team. Again, it goes to the parity of the NFL. It really does. It goes to the parity of the NFL where it doesn't matter, what team we're talking about. A lot of these things um, can, these teams can make noise. They really can. They can make a lot of noise. Like I can make a case for and against all these teams. The teams that I don't think have a deep run in them, the Eagles need to fix their offense. And I just feel as though it's too little too late. That light's not going to go on. Carolina's too young, kind of like arriving early, like Washington. The Herbert injury, that can be a nagging, lingering injury. Buffalo has to figure it out or they might be bounced. The staying power, the Rams, the 49ers, Seattle, New England, Drake May. So update it before we get out of here. Updated NFL odds, updated MVP. So right now, um, Stafford's still the front runner at plus 215. May has 5 touchdowns and he's plus 175. If Matthew Stafford goes out tonight and goes 20 of 29 for 265 and 4 more touchdowns, he's wrapped it up. 3 more touchdowns, he's wrapped it up. It just shows you the distance. Stafford has 40 touchdown passes. He's got 40 touchdown passes. He's had a remarkable season. May has 30, and he needed 5 to get to 30. So talk about the jump. If he doesn't have 5 yesterday, if he has 1 or 2 and he's sitting at 25, 26, Stafford still has 14 more touchdown passes. To me, unless Stafford goes out tonight and spits the bit, he's going to win the MVP. He's got 40 touchdowns, 5 picks, and he's throwing for 4,200 yards. And you still got one more game left. So I think he wrapped it up already. I really do, but we'll see. Tonight's going to be a high scoring game. I mean, the Rams are laying 7. The total is 40.5. I think this game goes under. I'm sorry. I think this game goes over. All right. Got to start wrapping it up. Good stuff with the comments. As always, 2 hours, man, flew by. Hopefully, we'll get Lloyd tomorrow. Don't forget, if you're listening on the Odyssey app, part of the Coastal Sports Digital Network, Lloyd's coming up at 8 o'clock. Lloyd Vance's Insider Football. Uh, just, that's very good. I'm glad you used that instead of the other symbol. We're powered by our good friends over at Fresh Roasted Coffee, 20% off your purchase, BYP20. Also, Three Brooks Bourbon, Get Ready with Tea. And of course, Played Against Sports 2 locations. As I mentioned, download the Odyssey app, Coastal Sports Digital Network. We'll have a short week with the holiday and New Year's this week. Check out the notifications on the YouTube channel as well for the rest of the week going forward. Like, comment, subscribe. You guys have been fantastic with the comments. Well over about 120 something on comments today. Um, and I always appreciate that on Facebook, X, Rumble, Kicks as well. So I like the Rams tonight, as I said, and check the notifications on the YouTube channel as well for us going forward. We'll have the audio up on Amazon, Spotify, and Apple Tunes as well. And appreciate that, Michael. Appreciate you guys keeping it locked in for 2 hours. I'll get to your comments as well on X. I respond to everyone as well as the YouTube channel at Rich Q. Enjoy the Monday Night Football tonight. And as I said, check out the notifications for the YouTube channel for going forward this week. Also, dropped a new episode of Overseas Dimes. Check that out as well. That'll be up on the YouTube channel. And we got some announcements for 2026 going forward. See you tomorrow. Happy holidays from the corporation. Right back at you, brother. Always appreciate you guys chiming in as well. My man Chino, look at that. Chino just sliding in. Just got off work, working a hard day, a little manual labor, a little lunch pail work, clocking in, clocking out. And I'm surprised Chino hasn't commented on the Giants winning yesterday. I thought maybe he would probably be annoyed by that. So I'm hoping I was able to define tanking and not tanking in the NFL for the 70 something odd comments that are still coming in from you Giant fans. All right. So again, check out the YouTube channel for notifications, like, comment, and subscribe to TikTok, Rich Q and Mike at Rich Q and Q, X, IG, also Kicks, Talka is the channel, and download the Odyssey app, search Coastal Sports Digital Network. Lloyd Vance tonight, 8 o'clock live. Lloyd Vance's Insider Football on SR 1029 FM The Game, SR 1029 FM The Game YouTube channel on X, and Coastal Sports Digital Network, part of the Odyssey family. All right. So you guys have a wonderful Sports Monday. Enjoy Monday Night Football. We will be back in the saddle again. As always, I'm Rich Quinones. Be safe, be sound. Hasta luego, buen dia. Thanks for tuning into this edition of On Cue.